Hi, welcome back to the Gallimaufry Gals discussion. Book discussion. We are discussing "Will My Cat Eat My Eyeballs" by Caitlin Doty. We hope you enjoy.
Yeah, for some reason I never really thought about there being such thing as like corpse laws either.
I know,
Like, the
me
whole,
either.
like I said, like the whole book is like it, like these are things I actually I never like asked as a kid even. I don't
Mm-mm.
think. Like it
Well,
never
we didn't,
occurred to me really. I don't know. Maybe I did.
there was not a lot of death. Well, I mean, in your dad's or my family, when you guys were growing up, there weren't a lot of funerals. We didn't have a lot of close friends that passed away, aunts,
That
uncles,
probably
just
does
really
have a lot to
old
do with it.
grandmas.
Right.
But,
Yeah,
you
Yeah.
know,
that's a really good point. Like I think that
yeah,
does have a lot to do with
yeah.
questioning things and
Well, when you're really young, yeah.
I mean,
You know,
oh, no, go for it, Angie.
oh, I don't know. It's a little bit off topic, but same
No,
topic.
go for it.
Oh, so I was just thinking, okay, like a skull could be cool, but I don't know if I would like it more or less if it was someone I knew. But then I was thinking about with the corpse laws, like you can't legally have any bones. But then I was thinking, this is so weird. Like for some reason, I was thinking it would be cool to have like a pen that was like a finger bone.
Oh, I know, that would be cool.
That would be pretty cool, yeah. It'd be even better if you could like offer it to someone to use and they don't even know, and then you're like, oh yeah, that's my husband's finger.
Yeah, right.
That's his pointer. That's his middle finger.
Everyone just assumes that it's like paper mache or something.
Right, like one of those
someone actually asks
Halloween
about
decorations. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you could have 10 pens.
Right?
It's true. Just
You go
don't
for
lose
20
any
and
of them.
use toes.
Oh no, that'd
really
be gross. That's too far.
It'd be like
Too far.
little
Yeah,
little
tiny pen.
It'd be like for on your phone when you need to like tap something.
Oh, there you go. Toe tapping.
Yeah.
Tapping.
Oh, no thanks. I'll
Lordy.
pass on that.
Me too.
Fingers, okay. Toes, oh.
Maybe, yeah.
No, neither one.
Oh.
So there was this. Oh, sorry. Go for it.
I was going to say, with what Angie was saying, though, you're right. Like, I don't know if having an enemy, like someone like that I don't know if having their skull would be better or worse either. Like, if it'd feel less personal, so it'd just be like, oh yeah, it's like a Halloween kind of decoration, but it's real, so it's cooler. Like, you know, or if it would be worse because it's like, I don't know.
Bad mojo.
Oh yeah, because you don't know what they did in their life, if they were a good person or were bad, or
if it even matters. Like,
was it natural causes or was it murder?
Ooh, yeah.
Better or worse if it was murder? Is it more intrigue? You could tell a story. Ooh.
Well, you'd make up stories anyway. So.
Well, I mean, yeah, I would.
Yeah, I got this skull. I think they died of like an exploding gallbladder. Great.
That sounds really fun way to die. Nice. Yeah. So I guess there was this chapter about will my body sit up or speak on its own after I die? So there was a thing in Germany in the late 1700s. There were physicians who believed that the only way to tell if someone was truly dead was to wait for the person to start rotting, bloating, smelling, the whole works. The belief led to the creation of Leichenhaus, a waiting mortuary where dead bodies would hang out in a fire-heated room. Heat encourages decomposition until no one could dispute that the person was 100% dead. The rooms would be watched by a young male attendant in case anyone should moan, sit up, request a bathroom, whatever. So what kind of person do you think it would take to be the person who worked at one of these waiting mortuaries?
Desperately poor.
Right? I mean, and there probably were around that time, like a lot of people were if you weren't have some kind of what's the word?
Job.
I don't know. Right? Like maybe not nobility, but some sort of like if you weren't a merchant or you weren't like a government type person, you probably were pretty poor.
Right.
Well, I feel like wasn't this during the time where actually like being like a mortician was actually kind of prestigious, or was that a little bit later? Because she mentioned it somewhere in there that there was like a time where they were actually like it
like
was
sort of
more like along the lines of like how doctors are revered.
Oh, interesting.
So like realistically, this could have just been like an intern kind of job. Like, oh, well, we don't really want to deal with this. Hey, you want to be a mortician? This is your job. Like, if you could survive this, then we'll let you proceed. Like, I'm wondering if it was maybe more of that kind of thing. I wouldn't be able to do it. The smell alone would just.
I agree.
And also, if it's like dark out and you're alone, I would think the place was haunted or something. Like it would be creepy.
Especially when the bodies moan or sit up.
Right?
Well, and I think it's cool. They talk about one of them in Munich where they would basically tie body parts to a thing that would play an organ tune.
Like that was
decomposing
weird.
or whatever. And so, I mean, you could like pay to walk through there and
charge
and
a
look
fee
at
for
it.
visitors.
But could you imagine being there alone at night and hearing like creepy random organ tunes?
No way.
Out?
No.
Like, cause it would be like those discordant like tunes,
right?
That
like
you
someone
always
who
hear like
doesn't know how to
horror
play.
movies,
Right?
Right.
Like
it's not
cool.
like beat jingle bells.
If it was, then there's definitely a haunting going on there.
Well, true.
Or they're still alive.
or that. Would you guys go through it? Go through one of those if they were still a thing?
I don't think I could take the smell.
I think I would actually. I think I would do it at least once in my life.
I think maybe I would too, if there was some way to help cover the smell.
Well,
I think I would too.
Yeah.
I think it'd be interesting. Like it'd be weird, but it'd be one of those experiences you'd be like, okay, I'm never gonna get this anywhere else.
Right.
That is true.
Once in a lifetime kind of weird thing. I
think I would do it at least once.
It's not something I'm gonna look for to do, but yes.
I don't think they have them available anymore. Don't think that's a thing anymore.
If you do find one, it's probably pretty
Let us
sketchy.
know. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, exactly. Probably there's some corpse laws being
violated.
Right there. Yeah.
Yes, most definitely. So there was this section in we buried my dog in the backyard. What would happen if we dug him up now? I didn't know if you guys had any thoughts about this chapter at all. But there was this whole section on Egypt about it was about these animals being left in the zoo in 2016. Like that wasn't even that long ago.
No, yeah.
Oh yeah.
During the Gaza Strip.
Yeah, the Gaza Strip had to be abandoned due to war and then Israeli blockade. As the animals died one by one, they mummified in the dry, hot air. Pictures from inside the ghost zoo show eerily preserved lions, tigers, hyenas, monkeys, and crocodiles. I didn't look these up, but I should have.
I did.
Yeah?
So, when I first read that, I was like, okay, is this really like real? Like, what is it? It's creepy because they look pretty much like they're like literally mummified.
Wow.
And it's really creepy looking. It's also really depressing. Like,
yeah.
And like, didn't, I never heard about such a thing. And I guess it's not like a huge, like.
Oh, it's a huge thing.
Yeah.
How could they just leave those
animals? It's just bizarre. There? And like, you would think that would be something like, I don't know, that would happen farther in the past, but.
Right.
It's just sad. Like they just died. Like, I don't know.
When there's war, it's hard. I mean, what do? You don't let them loose into the big city.
You let them loose.
in the big city to
Yep.
eat people because they will
War.
eat your
All
eyeballs.
bets are off.
It's just
War, all bets
crazy.
are off.
It's just crazy.
Tigers
Yeah.
down the
Anyway.
middle of the street.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
those
So
are-
I was watching this YouTube channel, Rachel Maxey, and she watched The Mummy with an Egyptologist,
Mhm.
and that lady explained that Egyptians actually named their dogs, but they did not name their cats.
Oh, I think I remember hearing that.
I did not know that.
I didn't either, especially since they were weren't they the first to sort of domesticate cats as pets?
Well, they were
I don't
considered
know.
like gods, so
Yeah.
maybe
I was
that's
gonna say that's
why.
probably
Oh.
why, because they probably were associated with the goddess Bass. So
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, she didn't go into why, but I just thought it was kind of interesting that, you know, you would think that if they were associated with a god, that you would name your cats.
Mhm.
But you don't want to give them an ordinary name.
And you don't want to like upset the god.
Oh.
Like if it's like I think they saw the cats as like an extension of their god, not necessarily or of one of their gods. So I don't think that naming them would basically be rude in a way, like kind of like a
Yeah, I'm not sure. She
a
didn't go into it.
no-no,
I
but-
just thought that was really
Oh,
interesting.
that is interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, so if they're an extension, like one would be like, you don't name a hand something different because it's just part of the god or goddess.
right, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So kind of going back to the pet question, would you guys taxidermy a pet?
They did that on Scrubs. Rowdy.
Did they?
Nice.
Yeah, he was a golden retriever, I think. Or yellow lab or something.
That was on.
It was sort of creepy. But it was cool.
Yeah.
They like
Yeah.
fetch Rowdy and they'd like throw a frisbee at his face and it'd bounce off.
That sounds like something they would do on that show. Yeah.
Oh man.
I don't
Actually,
think I could do that.
I don't think I would do that for a cat, but like
For your husband?
Yes.
No, I don't think so. Maybe if I don't know, I feel like a dog you could have more fun with it because you could make it fetch or use it as a table.
What about a squirrel?
I never thought of it.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
That's true. Like,
Chevy Chase? Was it Chevy Chase?
No, that
Nope.
was my ex-husband.
Oh,
You guys never see that squirrel in our basement?
I
don't know if I
don't
did.
remember it. No, maybe I did.
Oh my god!
No, I was thinking
He had
of that
gotten
one.
this taxidermied squirrel from his uncle who had passed away, and it was like
Oh, it was
I don't
huge,
know, a
wasn't
foot
it?
It was
tall.
like it was
Oh.
It
yeah,
was,
like
huge. Like I can't even fit it in the screen. It
Yeah.
was, like a foot tall at least, maybe 18 inches.
Huh.
And it was
Pretty tall.
huge and it was gross. And I hid it behind the bar in the basement in the
yeah.
corner to never have it be seen. I threatened many
Yeah.
times to throw it in the fire, but since it was passed down from a family member, I just hid it.
Good move. No, I was thinking Funny Farm had a stuffed squirrel in it too.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
so now some cute squirrels. If you were to go to Birch Point Resort, what city is that? Sort of like Bloomer, New Auburn, Wisconsin.
Mhm.
When you go in, it's a supper club, but in the little bar part, there is a little, oh my God, like a diorama sort of built into the wall, and it has a glass front, and you look in, and it's a little scene with taxidermied squirrels sitting around a table. There's a little Packer helmet on one, and they're playing cards around a little table. There's like 3 or 4 of them in there. Still creepy, but less creepy. Maybe they're chipmunks. I can't remember. They're pretty little. They're not like the
Probably
monster that I had.
chipmunks.
But I think they're
Giant
squirrels though. But yeah. So yeah, if you ever get up there, check that out.
Yeah, I won't.
It's weird that it's there. But worth seeing. They have delicious prime rib buffet on Saturday night.
Nice.
What is their fish like? Do they do a Friday fish fry?
I think they do. I've never done it, but I've heard it's really good.
Well, then I might try that.
But I don't think I would ever taxidermy a pet. I don't really like taxidermied anything, really. I think I don't know. To me, those are creepier than having like a human defleshed skull.
Interesting.
No.
Yeah,
That's fair.
maybe. They have eyes that can stare at you.
Yeah, that's the biggest part. Is this? That's why I don't like dolls either, because they just stare.
Oh, do you have a deer head above you? Matt?
I do.
Can see a little bit of the neck. Yeah.
And over there.
And over there, and there.
And up the stairs.
Right? I mean, okay, well, a new thought. Okay, so what if instead of like the whole body, like you might see in like a wilderness museum or something, what if you had it like a head mount? Like had it
Of your
like,
dog, your
so,
pet.
yeah, so it was like a chest out, like a deer mount. But
Like
it
a
was
deer
like your
mount,
pet.
just-
I still can't
you-
wrap my head around it.
That feels kind of weird too.
It feels
Like,
kind of weird.
here's all
Yeah.
the pets that I've had, and they're all like mounts on the wall.
Yeah, that just seems really
Yeah,
weird.
that's
Yeah,
no,
I just don't think I could. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
no.
No.
What about like a bird? Like if you had a bird pet, which like and getting that taxidermy, it remind me of like those like
Like those,
old people like
like your grandma,
Yeah.
grandma had at
Yeah.
her
I don't know.
place.
I
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Like the
think
little ornament thing she had on that
Yeah.
tree.
it's like even
Yes.
though a bird is more
Ooh.
like you're more inclined, like you're more likely to see a bird taxidermy or a squirrel taxidermy. Like
Mhm.
I still think if it was a pet, it would still be weird for
Well,
me.
if it was your pet bird.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
what
you're
I
right
mean.
though. It's like that extra personal attachment. Does it make it
Right.
feel more weird? But if
Yeah.
it was like a stranger's bird or a
Right.
stranger's dog, would you buy a taxidermied pet that wasn't yours? Like at a garage sale?
No.
Got
Like if I was into if I was
No.
into birds, like if I really liked birds and I was into taxidermied birds and it happened to be someone's pet, yeah, I definitely
there's a lot of ifs in there.
Oh yeah.
If this,
I'm
this,
just
and this,
saying.
then maybe.
Well,
if
no,
I was
there's
a
certain
completely different
birds-
person, then yes.
Killed
Well,
mom.
and are there different birds? Like, what if it was like a parrot, or what if it was like an owl or a hawk? Would that change your mind? Like if it was pet, I guess that's different. That's not a pet. You wouldn't have an owl as a pet
I
necessarily.
mean, you might.
It's true.
Maybe
mean, that
you're
would
from
be
Harry
pretty cool.
Potter. Like
Oh God,
you're a
yes,
wizard. You have an owl
that's true.
or a toad or a cat.
So
I
would
mean,
Harry Potter taxidermy Hedwig?
yes, I think he would.
I think he would too. And I don't think it would
Like
be
it's
weird to
my
see it on the wall
first
later.
friend.
My
Yeah.
first
But he'd have
and-
to. He'd have to find her first, technically.
Oh, yeah.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
there is no spoilers.
Spoilers.
Well, I didn't remember she was gone, so
I didn't either. Maybe we can reread the books. Maybe we could do
True.
that because it's been a long time since I've read.
So reread them as an
Yeah.
adult and see if your perspective.
Yeah,
has changed.
I've just watched the movies like a bajillion times.
Oh.
I know, and like I think I've only read the last book maybe once.
Yeah, same.
Honestly,
Like the
like-
the last two, I think only maybe once or twice.
Yeah.
So on
Anyway,
they talk about amber, and I was wondering what you guys would think about an amber grave. Like if that. Maybe if it even if it wasn't like a normal thing, like maybe it was like a trend-setting thing or like something that's just coming out.
Or if the world is coming apart at the seams and it's crashing into another universe.
Exactly.
Did anyone else think of Fringe as
Oh, yeah.
immediately when they
Most
read this?
definitely.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Most
Yes.
definitely. Yeah, she
Oh.
went into she was thinking the kid was thinking about Jurassic Park, which could very well be.
right?
Mhm.
But yeah,
It's
it was,
definitely more likely if it was a kid.
Yes.
that's true. Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't really so interested in like the fact of DNA being preserved as
Mhm.
I was about just being encapsulated in something. Yeah, I don't know. For
I
me,
wouldn't want. Well, go ahead.
oh, no, you go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So I don't know how I would feel about this, honestly. I think it would be kind of cool, honestly, but I'd have to be like I would want to be dressed.
Yes.
But yeah, I think it could be kind of cool, and then you could be, and this kind of goes along with like the Body Works chapter, which we'll go
Mhm.
into later. But I think it'd be kind of cool to be encapsulated in amber doing something that you enjoy doing, like reading or knitting or
That's a cool idea.
That is. I was gonna say, I'm not always happy with the way that I look, so I don't know if I want to be preserved for eternity for people. I could just see myself in a graveyard or a cemetery in a big hole with amber poured all around me, or like a tombstone body in amber up and down. People walk around and go, "Oh, look at her!"
That'd be kind of not to like interrupt the flow,
Oh no,
but
go ahead.
yeah, like I was just thinking about cemeteries in general. As with, could you imagine going into a cemetery and just seeing like blocks of people?
Whoa.
Like maybe instead of their tombstone or like next to their tombstone, like that would be really freaking creepy.
Like a
That would be
museum?
really creepy.
So I
Yeah.
just watched Serenity, and I like the way they did their graves with the stone and then like the hologram of the person.
Oh yeah.
I like
Oh.
that, because that way, if you want to know what that person looked like, you can play the
Yeah.
hologram, and
Right.
That would
they
be
aren't
really cool.
forgotten forever. I thought that was kind of cool.
That is true. Yeah, I would
Mhm.
definitely.
I'd rather have that than being buried in amber.
Well, there you
amber.
go. Yeah. Between the two, I would for sure choose the hologram.
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't think that it's a cool idea, but it seems really illogical just because of like how much space it would take up. And like in one of the chapters, she's already talking about like how much space like cemeteries take up anyway, especially in real estate where there's not a whole lot of wilderness to put bodies in, like near
Mhm.
cities and stuff. So
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true.
it'd be kind of cool, but I think at the same time, I don't think that I would ever really want to be. And then
Mhm.
like, do they put you in there after you've like died? Like, how long does it take for it to happen? Like, because like with like the Jurassic Park example with a mosquito in amber, like it gets stuck on there, and then over time it eventually like covers it. Like, would they just like dump a bunch on you? Like, I don't know. It just seems weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
It'll be the future where there's science where they can insta-amber.
Yes.
Insta-amber.
Right.
Yep.
Yep.
What if they just stuck your head? Like put your head in amber.
Oh.
Then you could like sit on top of your
It'd be
gravestone.
like a bust.
Yeah, like a bust.
Yeah.
And you could give it to your
bust.
family members to hold on to instead of the skull.
Okay,
Instead of the
no.
skull.
Yeah, that takes on a whole new level.
Yes,
Like
it
the more I'm
does.
thinking about it, the more like, yeah, I don't think I would ever. Yeah, I don't think I would ever want that.
No.
I mean, instead of having like statues in your house, you just have amber people.
Yeah.
Well,
No, that would be so
people.
creepy.
Well, okay.
Multiple people.
I
Whole
mean,
family
if
is
you
dead
watch
in amber, and they're all sitting there. They're
if
Oh,
you
man.
watch
staring at
movies
you.
where they have like a giant mansion or whatever, there's never just like one
Oh, that's
statue in the
true.
house. There's always more than one.
Mhm.
Or same with,
True.
like busts. Like they have like a hallway where there's like 6 different busts, 3 on each side. Like, you know, like
Oh, this definitely feels like it. The amber, the busts in amber could be a premise for a good scary movie.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, for
Mhm.
sure. Yeah. Actually, like there's a whole lot of things listed in this book
Well, this
where I was like, this is
Yeah.
definitely a writing prompt right here.
yeah.
Yeah. Like
honestly,
need
there's
the
a lot
whole-
in here.
they need to go away
Yes.
from the creepy kids in horror movies and go somewhere completely different, and they could just open up her book and get some ideas.
Oh
For
yeah.
sure. Why you don't even have to make stuff up. Like some of
No.
the stuff is creepy enough as it is, and it's real. Like
Right.
True.
Yeah, there were just like a couple things in the next chapters. Like I find it really interesting how the conjoined twins more or less pass away together.
I guess I just assumed they would.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So that was the question, right? Like, right? Do conjoined twins? Was it? Do they die at the same time?
Yeah,
Is that
do
the
they-
question?
Yep. And I thought, like, technically, I didn't think they technically did all
Not
the
the
time.
same exact instant, but within,
Mhm.
I'm guessing,
Usually-
like 10 minutes or something.
well, some
Or an
were even a
hour.
little bit longer than that, I think, but it depends on what, like if they're still together, like if they're still conjoined, and if they share any like major organs. So like if your other half or whatever has like most of the liver or whatever, and it's connected, like liver failure is a pretty bad thing. Like, so I mean, I guess I'm not really surprised that most of the time that's the case, but like even when they're conjoined twins are like separated, she said that a lot of times there were some cases where they lived, the other half like lived for a while longer, but there was a lot of them passed away, you know, days, weeks later, which I've heard the same kind of thing with like having a link with a twin, like in general, like they share a special connection. So I wasn't too surprised by it.
Well, my thought was, okay, so if you have a conjoined twin and it's, let's say, on your side, I mean, if one of them dies, you're not going to be walking around with half a dead person connected to you.
Could you imagine that?
Right.
It'd be like, that would be pretty bad. So
if you were a conjoined twin and your twin died, and let's say like you just shared, well, I guess they could probably just separate you, but if you couldn't be separated for whatever reason, how would you go about, would you want to be killed?
I mean, if the other one died?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I could walk around with a dead body attached to me.
No,
like,
I wonder if at that point, if like a previously sketchy surgery would then be less dangerous.
Right.
Well, that's true.
Because you don't have to worry about killing. Yeah, you don't have to worry about killing both of them because one's already dead.
Yeah.
Possible.
But because otherwise, man.
Yeah.
It would be so traumatizing.
Yeah.
Like if
I couldn't imagine.
If there was no other choice but to be connected to your dead twin, yeah, that's just such a hard
I'd be
question.
like, try anything to get
yes,
you know,
because I would go insane. I mean, literally.
Yeah, I think it would be a psychological thing. Yeah.
Yeah, for
so
sure.
What if you like couldn't have like the will for yourself to die and no one would do surgery, but like what if this is so stupid. Okay, so I have the good what if questions. What if like they could take the side, your sister that had passed away, and like sort of like mummify them like the animals in the zoo, like do some kind of like a heat
so that they wouldn't rot away.
Yeah, because like otherwise you'd have this like half rotting thing, but if you could sort of like preserve them, or maybe you do wrap them.
Yeah, for some reason
I
wasn't even
mummy.
thinking.
I don't know. I don't know.
No.
You put a Halloween costume on them?
Yeah.
It's Halloween all year round.
I don't know.
I'm really into Halloween.
Oh, no.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of like how you could manage it.
Right.
No.
I don't think there'd be any good ways. Like once they're decomposing, like I feel like that no matter what, even if you're like not sharing anything vital, like it would still affect your body.
Yeah. And your mind and
definitely your mind.
Well, and I'm just thinking because, you know, my sister Becky passed away and how much that hurts, and just to imagine having that person that passed away with you all the time but not be them.
Right.
That would just be just so difficult. I couldn't even imagine that.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Yeah.
On a lighter note,
okay,
what is the creep factor of breaking rigor?
And I don't remember what breaking rigor is.
So breaking rigor is the funeral directors have to massage and flex the joints and muscles over and over to get them to move, a process called breaking rigor.
Oh,
this process sounds noisy, full of cracks and pops, but we're not snapping bones. The sounds are coming from the muscles.
And they do that because why?
Their body froze in a position that might not let them fit in a casket or something like that.
Okay. I think that sounds right. Yeah.
I'm trying to read, but it's hard to get it when I'm skimming here.
Yeah. No, it's not something I want to do.
Yeah, that actually that made me creeped out.
I could see how for some people it would be fine. Like some people, there are some people that really like popping people's like joints and stuff like that. Like,
well, would it be like
So,
giving
like-
a massage and you feel like the bubbles going? Or
yeah, I think
would it-
that's pretty much how it would be.
would
So,
think
like-
so, too.
or like a chiropractor, so then it wouldn't be so bad.
It's a dead body.
It's a dead body.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And that's the part I wouldn't be able to do. But
Right.
Yes. But if it was your loved one and you needed to fit them in a casket and they were in a weird position, you would do it.
I suppose
I
if you're
would have him
mortician,
cremated.
I suppose
You
if you're
still have to-
mortician, everything's sort of like objective.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that
you
was
just,
just really
like-
creepy to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Managing that sound and the feeling. Ugh.
Yeah, the example, like if someone died and they were in a crunched position.
Yeah, all the crunching that would have to. Anyway.
Because you don't see them in a casket in a crunched position.
No, not in a fetal position.
So what if funeral directors didn't break rigor? Or morticians? What if they
did
didn't
you
break
have
rigor?
to order custom caskets? I need one where
Think
it's
so.
for like a circle
good
because they're crouching.
Right.
And
Yeah.
would you still have like open casket visitation?
Really?
But would
I
it not
don't
be
know.
creepy because
Uh.
everyone will have been like that from all time? Maybe
Mhm,
it's not something that starts now. Maybe it would be something that had always happened. Maybe
mhm.
that was
Yeah.
always the tradition to just leave them in the position they were.
Mhm.
I don't
Oh,
know.
natural.
Yeah.
It adds a whole nother meaning to that.
Oh.
Mhm.
That would be so bad though. Could you imagine? Like there'd be so many bad like facial expressions and like,
Mhm.
Yes.
like
I
everyone's
think the body or the muscles, don't they eventually relax anyway?
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
do. But
oh yeah.
I don't know
Like-
how much.
For example,
How
the facial
quickly.
expression thing, like she touched on that, like,
Oh, yeah.
you know, when
Oh,
your mom would be
right.
like, stop making those faces or you'll get stuck like that forever.
Yep.
Like,
Gee, a mom never said
Nope.
that.
not in fact likely to happen because your face muscles relax.
Relax.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But
So, with the Viking funeral thing, which I thought was
Mhm.
really cool, for some reason I never really knew that the Viking funeral, the traditional
Set it on
sending off
fire.
sending off on a boat that's on fire or setting it on fire, I
Mhm.
didn't know that wasn't a thing. I always thought, I guess I always
thought-
assumed
I
that.
always thought it was.
Yeah, I was
That's-
surprised by that.
Thanks again for listening, for watching, for laughing at us or with us. We hope you are enjoying these discussions, and we hope to see you in the next installment, part 3 of 6, next week. Thanks again, and happy reading.